Good evening, good evening. This is Venus with no mess. Hi, guys. I hope I have some young ones on here today because I would like to chat with them. I would like to chat with my young ones. As you can recall, if any of y'all guys have been watching my video, and I stated that when you come of age, you need to adapt common sense and also you need to have self control. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about these trio or family, if you want to call them. That's the father, that's the mother, and that's the son. And you guys, you know what happened? The father had a card game with his friend. His friend was named Harold Miller. I think I recall Harold Miller Jr. Yes, that's what his name. And something went wrong, and he unalived Harold. He unalived Harold. Yes, he did. And I'm trying to explain it, get it to you. What happened was they said that it was in New Jersey and they were playing cards with some friends in the early morning of June the 12th. His car was, he was missing, but they found his car like June the 14th, I want to say, and it was like 4 miles from where they were playing cards at. And his family were looking for Harold for a very long time. You know, they kept finding out what's going on with Harold because his car was missing on the 12th, and 2 days later he's not home. That's a long time because he always go and come back, they said. But what happened was there was a card game going on, and he unalived Harold, which was his best friend, and the father's name is Everton Thomas, I want to say. I know his last name is Thomas. And his wife's name is Sherrie Parker. And the son name is Deshawn Thomas. Well, to make a long story short, he unalived the guy. Then he forced his wife and son to get up and help him chop the body up and dispose of the remains. His son is only 22 years old. Now, the husband and the wife is 41, and the son is 22. I'm saying this because I have said this in my video over and over for the young people. You do not have to repeat the cycle that your mother and father. Once you come to the age and you know right from wrong, or you can separate right from wrong, that's when you need to make your move. Because if you repeat what your mother and father doing when you know it's wrong, you're going to end up like Deshawn. So it said, Everton Thomas, 41, had been charged with first-degree murder, while his wife, 41, Sherrie, and his son, 22-year-old Deshawn, are facing one count of each of tampering or disposing of human remains, physical evidence of slaying of Harold Miller. And then it said, in addition to murder, Everton Thomas had also been charged with tampering with physical evidence, lying to the police, and also he had a couple more other charges against him too, because he had left and went to Canada. I don't know why he went to Canada. They didn't say why he went to Canada, but they said when he came back, that's when they picked him up. But they said on June the 4th, they said Miller was reported missing to the police department. And they said his last known whereabouts was at Mr. Thomas' residence. Said to be playing cards with friends, and early in the morning of June 12th. His car was found empty on June 14th, about 4 miles east of the residence. But what got them is an investigating. Once they started investigating, they found out there was cameras and stuff around, and they had footage from the camera. They had cell phone data confirmed that Miller entered a residence in which the address is 2600 block. That's Mr. Thomas' address. They said he entered that address at 11:30 a.m. on June the 12th. But listen up, guys. They said later the video captured the sound of what appeared to be a sound of a gunshot. They caught that gunshot on video. And then they said Miller was never seen leaving the property. However, the video captured a man later identified as Thomas moving Miller vehicle. He unlocked this guy and didn't turn around and move his vehicle, and all of them were caught on camera. Okay. And he parked it where some other location, they said, away from his residence. Let's take a deep breath. That's why I said it's so many evil people out here. And I want to reach out to the young ones. Just because your parents decide to commit crimes, decide to go down the wrong path, once you come up a certain age and you know right from wrong, you need to leave. There are also resources for you young people. You do not have to stay in this situation. Now this young boy life is messed up. He's gonna have to go to jail, in prison for a while. When he get out, it's like starting all over again. He's so young, he could not here work for the government, he could have got him a decent job, but it's too late now. And the thing he have to do is admit, take responsibility, because he is 22 years old. Let's get back to this. Whew. Detective stated that they had proof and they had learned that Sherrie, the wife, and the son, Deshawn, y'all ready? Purchased a chainsaw, trash bags, and other cleaning supplies after Miller was entering the residence but never exited. So the wife and the son went out and purchased a chainsaw, trash bag, cleaning supplies, and other items when this man would enter the residence. So they already knew, they had this in plan. They already knew this was going to go down. But they said Miller never exited the residence. They said also surveillance camera video showed the father, which is Everton Thomas, and the son, which is Deshawn Thomas, making several trips to the apartment dumpster and loading trash bags into the vehicle before leaving the city. Yes, guys, they lived at an apartment complex. That's how they got caught. And it's a good thing they did. Because you got to understand, a lot of the apartments, especially the upscale apartments, they had cameras around them for security. So they caught all that on camera, so they can't get away with it. Court document stated a witness who lived in Thomas home told investigators that Deshawn said his daddy woke him up and said he need his son to help him chop up a body. And whoever that other person that living there, they didn't give that person's name, but that person said, Deshawn said his daddy woke him up and said he needed his son to help him chop up a body. And then he said a different witness reported to investigation they heard power tools being used in the basement, and that they heard, okay, you ready for this one too? They heard their mother, Sherrie Parker, or Sherrie Parker, said, a wife got to do what she got to do, and I wish I had never found him, referred to her husband. Let me speak there again. She said, a wife got to do what she got to do, and I wish they never found him. Sound like she know, or maybe it was someone she had contact in a relationship or something. I'm not for sure. That's what it sounds like. Wow. Okay, the day after the research of his home before it was charged with a crime. Okay, the day after research of his home, which is Thomas' home, he left and decided to go to Canada. And see, they was watching him, because they already had the forensic teams in there. They tested DNA and bloodstain they found inside Thomas' home, and it belongs to Mr. Miller. Charges was filed against all three of the family: the mother, the father, and the son. They filed charges against all three of the family members on September the 5th. But they said a motive for the unaliving have not been yet released. But they also said Everton Thomas, which is the father, was taken into custody by U.S. Customs and Border Protection on September the 8th. They didn't say if they were from the U.S. or they were from Canada, but they said he was taken into custody by the U.S. Customs. So I'm trying to figure out if they from the U.S. or they from Canada, but they not saying that they from U.S. or Canada. Yeah, so I'm not for sure about that. But I'm going to follow up on this case. I'm going to do some research next week and see if they got a court day coming up. If they're still here in the United States. But they say that Thomas, he is currently being held in a local correction facility. So, faculty of facility. So what I'm going to do is try to do some research and find out about this. And also they say Sherrie Parker and Deshawn Thomas were also arrested on the 8th by the U.S. Marshal Service. So it don't seem like they from the U.S., but it's not saying. I'm not for sure. I don't want to say it. If I guess and say where they from, I don't want to say that because I could be wrong, and I don't want it to be spread. But what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to talk to my young people right now, my youth. Just because your mother and your father commit a crime, once you come of age and you know that what they're doing is wrong, you know they are committing a crime, leave. Get out of that situation. Because now we have this 22-year-old Deshawn Thomas. He's going to have to go to prison. Even if he get 5 to 10 years, when he get out, wherever he's from, He's gonna have to get deported. He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to leave the United States. I'm not gonna say they from Jamaica, Haiti, whatever. I don't know that background, and I'm not gonna put that out there. But once he pulled his time, his mother go behind the walls in prison and do her time, they're gonna have to use. They would not be able to stay in the United States. They're gonna get shipped back out. But the father, I guess he's gonna be in prison for a very long time. And what I'm saying, the young people, don't make any mistake. Do not allow your parents to cause you to lose your life. Yes, our Heavenly Father wants us to obey our parents, but He did not tell us to go ahead and commit a crime with them. Once you know what for right from wrong or what to do in your life, move on. Hold on a second. Because now this young boy's life is messed up, and he got a criminal record for what? For something that his father and his mother had plotted. Because it said that they saw the mother and son out buying no items. So I'm not for sure. Maybe the son didn't really know what was going on. He was with his mom buying no items, but he's 22 years old. So young people, what I want to say tonight, think before you act. And try to study God's Word. The more you have love for His Word, the more you will grow. And that love will motivate you to apply what you learn. And then you can make better decisions based on the Bible principle. You improve your attitude and your conduct because you want to please God. So young people, be careful out here, even down to your own friends, even down to your own relatives, and now it trickled down to your own mom and daddy. Just look at how they got this young boy caught up in all this mess, and his life had just decided to go the correct way. Now his life is going around in a circle. This 22-year-old boy, we just don't know what's going to happen to him when he get behind the bars in that prison. He's 22 years old. And now he caught up in some BS. But that's all it is. So guys, I just want to come on here and I just want to say, young people, be careful. You do not have to repeat what your mother, your father, your uncle, your auntie, your grandparents. You do not have to repeat none of that. Once you come of age, you are responsible for your own action. So please, please try to adapt self-control. Okay guys, I'm gonna get off of here. That's all I have for y'all. If I get any more resource or any more information on this one right here, I will make sure I come back. I just want to let the young people know, be careful out here. Be careful. So guys, until next time, please, please, have self-control. Have self-control. And young people, please, adapt. Cultivate love and respect for human beings. Okay guys, so until next time, peace.